New prison on the former airbase at RAF Coltishall will be used to house convicted sex offenders. It'll be a Category C prison and will hold up to 500 prisoners when it opens later in the year.
The Jordan family lives on the former airbase. Today's news that sex offenders are about to move in next door has come as a surprise.
Perhaps it would do for them to be more open, whereas they tell you last minute about these things when there's very little that you can actually do about it.
Nearby neighbours are concerned.
We've got young children here. It's a very close-knitted community, and with everything that's just been told to us, no, I'm not happy.
I've got a little child of my own, only sort of one at the moment, so it would have been nice to have been informed about this beforehand.
Early this year, the Ministry of Justice was given planning permission to use 15 acres of the 600-acre site to build a Category C prison.
It was discussed at the time that this prison would be a prison for local population who used to need to travel to visit prisoners, and now suddenly it's going to be one of 3 national facilities. So they get planning permission and then suddenly the rules change.
I think there will be concerns both about this particular use, but I think the other concern is whether this actual proposed use will stick, because there have been so many changes. Who knows what they're going to come up with next? The degree of incompetence is extraordinary.
But the government says locals have no need to worry.
Top end of the spectrum, which perhaps most people think about as they think about sex offenders, those who've gone out and committed the most horrendous crimes. I mean, within your area, the nearest prison that might hold high-security prisoners like that is Whitemore.
Work on the prison behind me is in full swing. The first inmates are expected in November, 250 of them. Then another 250 are expected in March. Maria Veronese, BBC Look East, Coltishall.
A third person's been arrested by police investigating an apparent double murder in Ipswich. The bodies of Roslyn Hunt and Des Thorpe were found at separate addresses in the town. This afternoon, a 27-year-old man was arrested. Officers have been given more time to question another man and a 15-year-old girl. Police have named the man who went missing in the sea off Great Yarmouth last week as 25-year-old Daniel Reed. Despite an extensive air and sea search, there's been no sign of him.
Opposition is growing against plans to build an electricity substation on the outskirts of a village in Norfolk. Warwick Energy has earmarked a 30-acre site and has applied for planning permission. But local people are determined the company should look elsewhere.
You could call this not in my backyard, but maybe your backyard's not as scenic as Wramplingham in the Tiffy Valley. People here say a substation will destroy the nature of their village.
It's a lovely, quiet spot. It's one of the prettiest places in Norfolk. It's in the Tiffy Valley, and one can't just begin to imagine who on earth thought this was a good place to set a massive industrial complex.
The substation will cover 30 acres. That's 3 times as big as this one in Mangreen and provide electricity for 250,000 homes.
Warwick Energy says that this field is one of a number of potential sites, and they're going to pick one by the end of the year and make a formal application. But the company says that local people will have plenty of time to assess the plans.
Pylons are already a prominent feature, but the local MP says if the substation gets the go-ahead, then other areas of unspoilt beauty could go the same way.
We may end up with substations in different places for different companies, instead of looking at it strategically and asking ourselves what would be the best way to use a limited resource, that's land, in the best way so that we do the minimum environmental damage. And those questions, it doesn't seem to me, are being asked at all at the moment.
The substation will connect to wind farms off the Norfolk coast, but locals ask why clean energy has to make such a mess of their countryside. And Jana Gadgill for BBC Look East in the Tiffy Valley.
Talks between the unions and National Express East Anglia have been going on all day at the conciliation service ACAS. There have already been 2 48-hour strikes, and a third strike is planned for Thursday and Friday of this week. This time, fewer trains are expected to run, with members of a third union, the TSSA, expected to take action as well.
Some of the fastest boats in the business will be coming to Essex next summer. Harwich is hosting one of the races in the British National Powerboat Championships. It's hoped it could bring thousands of people to the town.
They go from 0 to 60 in just 3 seconds. Once racing, they can hit 70 miles an hour. And next summer, as part of the British National Powerboat Championships, they'll be roaring around Dovercourt Bay.
A little bit like Formula One racing on land, but of course with this one we don't have a tarmac road, we have a moving road, being the sea, and it's very, very spectacular.
Powerboat racing in Harwich dates back to the beginning of the last century, but it's the first time this championship has come to the town.
We found out that in 1908 was a powerboat race held in Harwich, the Harwich Regatta, and we're trying to establish whether it was part of the Olympics in 1908, and powerboat racing was one of the sports. So we're trying to establish the background of this magnificent trophy here.
Concerns about the dangers of the sport have been raised. At the weekend, a man was killed during a powerboat race in Dover. However, organisers of the Harwich event say it was a fluke and safety is of paramount importance. In Dovercourt, locals seem pleased the race is coming to their shores.
We don't see much powerboat racing around here anyhow, so could be good.
I bring a lot of people to the town, and that's what the town needs, really. It's a lovely seafront here, and it should be used more.
Put the place on the map again, perhaps.
The event will take place at the end of July next summer and is expected to attract around 30,000 spectators. Felicity Simper, BBC Look East, Harwich.